Probably didn't know this, but back in high school I had a major crush on you.
I know.
You did? Oh, okay. I always figured you just thought I was Monica's geeky older brother.
I did.
Oh. Listen, do you think... And try not to let my intense vulnerability become any kind of a factor here. But do you think it would be okay if I asked you out sometime, maybe?
Maybe.
You know, you probably didn't know this, but back in high school I had a major crush on you.
Many times when we refer to a past period, we use the phrase back in.
Well, that was back in high school. How could that still bother you?
Back in high school, or when Ross was in high school, he had a crush on Rachel. This is a common expression we use to say that we like someone and we have a desire to be with someone we find attractive.
I told him you have a crush on him.
Why would you do that?
I had no choice.
So you tricked me into coming here. You made me gay. Now I have a boyfriend. All these lies just to win a trophy?
Yes.
I respect that.
Now Ross doesn't just have a crush on Rachel, he has a major crush on her. This is, of course, a way to express more emphasis. Other similar collocations are to have a big or massive crush on someone. Phoebe here uses an emphatic but less common collocation.
I have an enormous crush on you, but because you're a client, I can't ask you out, even though you give me, the feelings.
Also, the word crush refers to the person you have a crush on.
Oh my god, my secret crush is here. Mila Kunis? No, my secret crush.
I always figured you just thought I was Monica's geeky older brother.
Figure out is a common phrasal verb meaning to understand or solve something. For example, I'm still trying to figure out how to play the game. However, we often say I figured as a synonym of I thought or I came to the conclusion that. Let's watch some examples.
What's in the bag?
Oh, I figured you guys would all be mad at me, so I got you some gifts that I found on the side of the road.
I just figured, after living with you, it'd be an interesting change of pace to have a female roommate, Someone I could learn from, someone who's different than me.
Ross figured Rachel saw him as a geek. A geek is someone who's really intelligent or obsessed about something like computers, books, or some unusual interest. It is usually used as an insult. Stereotypically, geeks are not good with girls, so that's probably why he downplays himself saying, I figured you just thought I was Monica's geeky older brother.
So, what are you gonna do this summer?
Oh, I'm gonna hang out, work on my music.
I have a wonderful idea. You should take Rachel to the prom.
Doubtful.
Jack, give me...
And try not to let my intense vulnerability become any kind of a factor here.
Ross says this so Rachel doesn't feel bad if she says no. He seems vulnerable because his wife just left him, so he thinks Rachel might say yes out of pity, not because she really wants to date him.
But do you think it would be okay if I asked you out sometime, maybe?
Sometime is not the same as sometimes. We use sometimes as an adverb of frequency. For example, sometimes I have a little wine with my dinner. Sometime, on the other hand, is used to refer to a time that you don't exactly know or haven't decided yet. Example, I'll visit you sometime next month. To ask someone out means to invite someone on a date. Ross here is expressing his desire, but hasn't yet worked up the courage to actually ask her out. So that's why he says he will do so sometime, maybe.
Ross, I'm telling you, she has no idea what you're thinking. And if you don't ask her out soon, you're going to end up stuck in the zone forever.
I will. I'm waiting for the right moment.
Who's this from?
Oh, that's Rust's.
Oh my god. So pretty. This must have cost him a fortune.
I can't believe he did this.
Come on, Ross, remember back in college when he fell in love with Carol and bought her that ridiculously expensive crystal duck?
What did you just say?
Crystal duck.
This must have cost him a fortune.
You're probably familiar with must as a verb of obligation, as in you must stop at the red light. However, must is also used for a strong assumption.
Can't believe Barney might get fired.
Yeah, they're having a meeting on Friday to determine whether or not he keeps his job.
Poor guy, he must be freaking out.
Because must is a modal verb, to change it to the past tense, you can't add ed. In such cases, we add have after it. We do this with other modal verbs as well: might, could, would, etc.
I know this past week must have been tough on you.
I barely slept.
You know what probably happened? Someone must have stolen my credit card.
Understanding the grammar of this is important, but so is its pronunciation. In natural speech, have is usually reduced to of, or even down to a schwa sound, So must have becomes must've or musta.
This must have cost him a fortune. This must have cost him a fortune. This must have cost him a fortune.
Let's see how the same thing happens with the modal verbs would and should. Instead of would have and should have, most times you'll hear,
yeah, I would have laughed too.
Well, I would have been here sooner.
We never should have talked about this.
Come on, Ross, remember back in college when he fell in love with Carol and bought her that ridiculously expensive crystal duck?
What did you just say?
This is when Chandler spills the beans. That is, accidentally reveals the truth that Ross is in love with Rachel. For some, it might not be so obvious, but by bringing it up that Ross put a lot of effort in finding an appropriate gift for Carol when he fell in love with her, Chandler is letting Rachel know that now Ross is in love with her because once again, he's putting a lot of effort into buying a sentimental and expensive gift.
Just give her this for me, okay?
Chandler describes the gift Ross gave to Carol as ridiculously expensive. That's to say, very expensive. Let's see another example with this word.
You want to stick around and I'll whip you up some dinner?
Yeah, as long as it's free. Food here is ridiculously over.
Notice now how when Rachel says,
What did you just say?
"What did you just?" becomes, "What did you just?" Let's see other similar examples of this common connected speech reduction.
What did you just say?
I'm sorry. What did you just say? Did you just say hi?
However, in the following example, Chandler fully enunciates each word. Sometimes when we want to show we're angry or surprised, we normally like to make each word as clearly as possible.
Okay.
What did you just do? What did you just do?
Hey, if you love learning English with friends, then our premium course, Fluent with Friends, was made for you. You will learn to comprehend fast-speaking natives and greatly improve your fluency. You can get a free taste of that right now by signing up for our 3-part mini